territory where Carlos Bullosan once lived to tell the story of the rain, sweat, glory of Mike Jackson men who fight the destination we were destined to end. Left a writing on the wall in the halls of the Nippon Khan. Others transformed, majority Decepticons. But my conception of the...
All right. This is Kevin. That's Brian. It's the Wait for It Seattle podcast, episode 39.
The Brandon Browner episode.
Oh, I was waiting for that. I didn't even... It's such a horrible number.
I feel like I need to double check my research on that. That was off the dome, as the kids say. So I don't know.
I don't even know if kids say that anymore.
That's
Do
true.
kids
They
say
don't.
that?
No, you know what kids say? It's really annoying. You won't even know what this means. In class, they just go 6, 7.
What?
It's the dumbest thing. It's from it has to do with LiAngelo Ball. Not LiAngelo. I always say the wrong one. LaMelo Ball, and he's 6'7".
LiAngelo the rapper?
Yes, but LaMelo is 6'7", and there was some song, something, and it references him, and it has that as like a small point, or it's a YouTube video, or it's something. But I'll be in class saying, okay, we're gonna work on problems 6 and 7, and then kids will just go 6, 7, and then my kids do it at home, and it's just Kev. So there you go. It's awful. But good news, Brandon Browner is number 39.
Yeah. Wait, before we keep on going, I do think I was playing around with AI, and I was asking AI, how can we promote our podcast? Because we've been around for 39 weeks, and I think, what are easy ways to do this? And it said, well, tell the people that listen to share it with other people. So I'm telling you right now to share it, and keep on rating it and liking it. And that's as far as I'm going to get as far as a script. So,
is it terrible that when you said you checked AI, I thought you were going to check AI? What are the kids saying these days, AI?
I should say, I should actually.
I bet it
write
comes
that
up.
in.
I bet it comes
there's
up.
so many different AI tools that you could use, and all of them have different personalities. So maybe I should try.
I will say I've been using it more in the last month and a half than I ever did before. It's wonderful.
I bet we could take the transcripts of all 39 episodes, and we could literally, you could be talking and I could type in what you talk, and then it would have it basically script out the podcast episode. We have enough data now.
That is weird. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Does that
I do like when I say, give me a quiz for All Quiet on the Western Front, chapter 8.
Yeah.
And it gives me a multiple choice quiz. That's what I like.
Yep. It's powerful.
Yeah. All right, enough AI for now.
Yeah.
We're still here. We're humans.
What are we talking about?
We're gonna do
Basketball.
we're gonna do some headlines. It's the winter months. We're gonna ignore some sports that are irrelevant. Talk about the things that we think, if we were running a sports page, what would they be? So the top headline right now would be, I'll write it as a question, which is terrible. You'd never do this as a headline.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a question to you. Did the UW women just punch their ticket?
Yes. I mean, they were bottom. They were on Friday. I looked at the bracketology, and they were the last 4 buys in.
Yeah.
So not the last 4 in, so the last 8 in. And then, so it seems like they cemented their
That
place
seems
in
to
the
be
tournament.
the consensus today among people who follow, is beating Oregon, who's higher in net ranking, higher in the standings. Same thing, right? Minnesota and Nebraska. The last 3 are all teams above them, and they won all 3, 2 on the road.
What a way to finish the regular.
We said 2 weeks ago, I said, go win 4 in a row. Totally possible. Maybe not probable. Finish 9-9 in the Big Ten, which they did. And so, and I went to the game today, Kev. You asked last week.
I heard the environment was really good.
It was good.
I watched the press conference, and that was one of the questions is, did they play well because it was senior night, or did they play well because it was Oregon, or did they play well because the crowd was great? And it sounded more like it wasn't really about Oregon. It was a good environment for the seniors, and the players played hyped. Did it feel?
It was bigger crowd than I didn't go to the
Usually.
USC game. I wasn't home for that one, so I'm sure that one was awesome. But I've been to, I think, 4 or 5 games this year, and it was the best crowd I've seen for the women. Good crowd, lots of hype. I think people kind of followed what we talked about, like go get tickets, go to the game. You asked me last week on the podcast what live sports you're going to go to this week. And I was like, oh, probably nothing. And then, of course, I went to the UW women's game. So
Yeah.
I
Who'd
couldn't
you go
help it.
with? Did you go with anybody?
Maybe one of our top listeners, if not the top, Justin
Justin?
Fenton, of course.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then his brother-in-law, Lewis, who is a
Yeah.
big Husky fan, big
Yeah.
Hoops fan. So shout out to Lewis and Justin. It's fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
$5 tickets, Gav. It's hard to pass up.
Whew.
I got the promo email. UW does this really well.
Yeah.
If you buy tickets, I got the men's tickets earlier this year for $12, women for $5. It's like there's no excuse. I'm not coaching, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like, we're going to basketball, baby.
this is one of the things the football team is trying to get everyone to go to the men's game next weekend against Oregon.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and part of this, it's a big deal because it's a big recruiting weekend. And so they're just trying to have
Yeah.
the festivities going. But this is a much more cooler game, right? Like,
Yeah,
or
Kev, they
Juju,
couldn't-
like, they're not going to, the men are not. Yeah.
They couldn't pay me to go to that game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, give me some
Yeah.
NIL money. I'm still not going. Sorry. That season's over. They've been eliminated for the
Yeah.
Big Ten tournament. I have no desire to go see them play. And I've gone to like 5 games this year. No, I just want them to be done and figure out the team for next year. Whereas the women, they get to go play Minnesota on Wednesday in the Big Ten tournament. They have it's a weird thing with bracketology, right? And I might have talked about this last week, but because they play Minnesota, it's at 12:30 on Peacock in case anybody wants to watch on Wednesday. Hard time to watch, but I get it. They're playing Minnesota. Minnesota's in right now. They're actually below the Huskies on that ESPN bracketology by like 1 spot. But they're both in. They're both close in the standings. Maybe it's a win and get in type of game, but
Yeah.
if
Feels
the
like they're
Huskies had
already-
finished higher and played a lower seed,
And
it's a
lost.
more dangerous game, right?
Yeah.
This feels sort of safe. In neutral site, you just played them. They're equal teams. Like, I don't think they'll punish the loser. Maybe. But if they had played not Nebraska, Wisconsin or Northwestern or somebody as a higher seed who's just not good and lost, it might have knocked them out. So it's weird to be like, oh, thank God we're the 13 seed, but they are. And so hopefully they win. Lewis, Justin, and I talking on the way out, what this team is fun. I don't know if they can beat the best teams, but it would be cool if they went on like just a mini run in the Big Ten tournament to watch them play USC again or UCLA or
Yeah. I have
know.
a very pointed question for
Yeah.
you. I looked at the box score. Eladine had 7 turnovers,
Yeah,
and I
she
was
was-
curious to see if that was a season high. So she had 7 in a game,
Mm.
maybe a month ago. Does that worry some?
El Ladine did not have a great game today. So 3 of those 7 she literally was just doing a crossover and got picked. So that happened twice in a row, and they gave her a little breather. Today was weird. So Ladine wasn't great. They started the second half with Savia Sellers on the bench, and she only had 2 fouls, and she sat the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. And now that I reflect on it, it could be a defensive thing. It could have been and she was really good on the bench.
In the fourth quarter, she looked great.
Well, so she's really good on offense,
Yeah.
but I'm going to break this down a little bit. So
Yeah.
her body language on the bench when whatever was happening in the third quarter was great. She was rooting on her teammates. She was happy. She did not have injury, no ice packs or anything. So we were trying to figure it out. And then our best theory was they did come out with a better defensive energy. You're more switchable without Sellers. At the end of the game, to your point, she was good on offense. They needed her. But on defense, UW was switching a ball pick, and Oregon loves to roll their bigs and throw inside.
And do you think
It's-
it's because she's just too small?
Oh, yeah. Sellers was getting beat up down there. And
Yeah.
Oregon's huge. They got big players who they can
Yeah.
roll. So they were doing
Something to
defense,
watch.
offense, subs. Yeah, it was interesting, though, that Sellers, in some ways you could say she's our best offensive player, and she was out for 6 full minutes in that quarter.
Yeah.
But Chloe Briggs had a really good game and she's been the unheralded 5th starter that has changed their season a little bit since she started. And that's kind of what's cool about them. They have these guards that can have big games when they need it. Hannah Steins has had a good game. Briggs has had a good game. Coppinger was good against Minnesota.
A
So
lot of contributors.
yeah, I just really hope no matter what happens Wednesday, they're in the tournament so we can watch them play some random team from, whatever, the Big East or something, and it would be
Yeah.
so fun to just watch.
Yeah.
I'm like invested in this team, watching them so much. Like I don't want it to end. They're really fun to watch.
I'm also invested in Eladine since she was on our
Yeah,
podcast.
that's what I'll finish with. So Ella Dean is rad. So she got into it a little bit with the Oregon players at the end of the game, and then I watched her when the buzzer sounded, and she was right by the Oregon players, and she was just flashing dubs in their face as she walked away. So something to watch. They've had. There's been some tension in the two games. So if they somehow, I haven't looked at the bracket enough to know, but if they somehow play Oregon again, which I don't think they
I'd love
probably
the
will,
edge.
that'd be fun. Yeah.
I'd love the edge.
Yeah.
Well, good to know that the Husky women are going to be dancing.
Let's hope. Yeah.
Sounders.
Yeah.
What's the next headline?
Sounders. So many players. I don't know what the headline is. Like so many players, so many matches. They just are playing all the time. This isn't really newsworthy.
Yeah.
It just struck me. So I watched most of the game when I did not fall asleep on the couch. Their MLS game at Real Salt Lake. And I say MLS because it's not CONCACAF champions. Mm-hmm. So they advance in Champions Cup, which is cool. They beat the Guatemalan team. They go play now Cruz Azul on Wednesday. And the following Wednesday, another leg home and away. They have LAFC in between on the weekend, who we know is really, really good. They've tied one and lost one in MLS, and they'll probably lose to LAFC next weekend. So I don't know. How would you balance playing in this cup that's cool with your regular season, which is long, but you don't want to get in a hole? I mean, this is the question they're facing, but like, what would you do? Like, who would you play? Like, how would you prioritize your lineup?
CONCACAF is a big enough tournament. Like, it's not like the U.S. Open Cup or something else. Like, I'm trying to think of another random one. I mean, these tournaments are just happening throughout the season, right? Like,
this year the Sounders have. The Sounders are in a unique spot because they're playing more. They're not playing Open Cup because of these three, which is great. But they're playing CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is a cool competition. Mm-hmm. Leagues Cup, and then the Club World Cup is the biggest one.
Well, the Leagues Cup is part of the ML. Like, everyone does that, right?
Leagues Cup is La Liga from Mexico and the MLS, and everyone does it, and they do. In Club World Cup, there is because they won CONCACAF champions before. So this is kind of the coolest one because it allowed them to play PSG at home. Mm-hmm. So prioritizing Champions Cup now is probably the right call. And they have a lot of depth. Like João Paulo is a really good player. He's older. He played the whole match against the Guatemalan team, Antigua, but then didn't play MLS game at all.
Do you like this aspect of soccer or football that there's the primary league, but then there's these concurrent tournaments happening throughout the season? Like that it can't happen in any other professional American sport. Like it doesn't happen.
Well, sort of. I mean, so let me answer your first question, then I'll answer the second. So the first one is I didn't, when I first became a Sounders ticket holder and MLS started here, I wasn't into it. But I am not for all the soccer heads who want to come at us, like I wasn't watching Premier League that much. Like I knew teams, I had friends who did, but it just as an American sports fan, it's a foreign concept, right?
Yeah.
If you're a soccer fan, like the Champions League is so cool.
Yeah.
And so I've warmed up to it. Like I think it's cool that you can have these other ways to be successful in a year. I don't think American fans embrace it much. So American fans would care more about winning MLS Cup than CONCACAF Champions, even though Champions is harder, right?
Yeah. You're playing better teams.
The second part is this is what the NBA is trying to do, though. They're trying to capture this with the NBA in-season tournament, which they now call the NBA Cup. So, or maybe they don't call it. Maybe that's what they called it the first year. I can't remember.
The NBA has a lot of issues, and we can talk about it later.
But that one might not be it. I mean, that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ratings were. I don't remember, but players play hard. It works. It's interesting. But
No
to your
one
point,
watches still. No
well,
one
to your
watches the
point, like,
NBA.
nobody's like, hey,
Yeah.
remember when the Pacers were in the NBA Cup finals? Like, no, you remember what happens in the
I
regular.
remember what the court looked like,
Yeah,
maybe.
the court. Yeah. So I don't know that you can ever do it in America, but you could find versions, right? Like
Yeah.
I do think that in-season tournament has some coolness to it that they didn't have before.
Well, you know what? Here's what's cool is I think that maybe the best analogy are like college sports in season tournaments, like in the non-conference.
Like the Maui
So
Invitational
the
or
Maui
something. Yeah.
Invitational, or like it
Yeah.
happens in every sport where
Yeah.
people will travel and have like a little invite. So, um, maybe, but it's still like that counts towards your RPI or not your net rank, and it's part of your resume. So, anyways, long.
Yeah, I'm trying to look to see if the ratings they weren't. Yeah. The Bucks Thunder played this year, which I couldn't have told you, and they got 3 million viewers. So that's not great, right?
Yeah, no one's watching. I think.
Um,
I mean, I, they're on
they
weeknights.
yeah, I
Like,
mean it's more so that the Lakers and Mavs played this week, I
yeah,
think.
I watched
Oh
that.
no, that's not on here now. But Sixers, Knicks, Nuggets, Bucks, these are like, good enough games. They're like 1.3 and 1 million viewers. So the NBA tournament did increase their viewership in
Yeah,
the middle of the year. So I wouldn't say it's a failure. It's just not the same as football.
yeah, yeah,
The only
yeah.
one more before we move on. The baseball one that I think is cool, and I I want people to remember this when it comes back in 2026 is the World Baseball Classic is super cool.
Yeah.
I went to a game last. Have I told you this? That we went to a
Yes.
game? Yeah, and it was awesome. Like I'm not that patriotic. I was like USA. I was yelling for Mike Trout. Like, I was so pumped. It was really cool. Uh, those games are fun, and that'll be back in 2026. That's kind of an in season, right? Because it's in spring training. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic to see if anybody can find something that works.
Headline
All right,
three,
third headline. Kev, this is
WIAA state
yeah,
basketball.
it's right
I love it. I mean, you've always been a coach,
Yeah.
but I've always been like a fan pseudo reporter. And when I was in high school, like I'd travel with prep, right?
Hmm.
Because we'd always be in state, and then I would just stay the
Yeah.
entire day. And this
That's
was
awesome.
back when the stuff was in the. Is it in? It's not in the Tacoma Dome
It
anymore.
is. It is.
Okay. Okay. The Tacoma Dome, it's ripe for a. If you're in there for too long, and trust me, I've done this. I've experienced it. You get a horrible headache
Yeah.
because of the lights, and it's just a horrible place to be in for a long time. But the basketball, it is like I just love it. It's from
Yeah.
8 a.m. all the way to like you could stay till like 11, right?
Yep.
The last game doesn't end till 11.
Yep.
I don't know. Have you ever done that? No, because you've always been coaching, right? Like you've never
R-
stayed the entire time.
Right. So what's interesting is I'm totally seeing it this year as a fan, even
Yeah.
though I'm a teacher at prep. I'm
Yeah.
former coach, and both the boys and girls are in there. So I'm a little bit, more of a fan there. But I'm trying to figure out, am I taking my kid out of school? How long am I going to stay down? How many times am I going to go? Like really it's the early days. It's kind of like March Madness for college. Like I want to see the maximum games.
Yeah.
Even though it seems silly, the semifinals are probably and finals are great games. I like the early round matchups are so fun. Um,
You never know what you're going to see
yeah.
in terms of the types of players. So I covered the tournament in 2012 and I wrote an article and it was an Eastern Washington team versus Bothell. I wrote
Hmm.
this article.
So Zach Levine,
Zach Levine and the other guy,
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup.
Yeah, that's like gone around this
They
year.
played each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what I found. The article they were surfacing was something that I wrote
No
in
way.
2012. Yeah. It was just, it was an explanation of it was just a game recap, right? Like Cooper Cup stood out for where did he go to high school? Somewhere in Yakima, right?
Uh,
Let's see.
why do I want to say Prosser? I thought
Davis.
Davis.
Davis
Oh, I got it.
Yakima.
I'll talk about Davis in a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. So what a game, like
Yeah.
everyone knew Zach Levine was gonna be good, but Cooper Cup, no one had any idea that he'd be the mega star that he ended up being.
Yeah.
So
Um, I mean, I went as a fan in high school in the mid 90s. It was
yeah.
awesome.
Who'd you see?
Doug Wren for O'Day was probably the
Yeah.
best player. He ended up playing at Washington for a while, but he went to UConn originally. They were great. They won state when we were
Yeah.
there. But there was like a Linden team that was awesome. You'd see these sort of random teams. I remember being there as a coach and watching some girls action and seeing that Central Valley team that had Lexi Hull, who plays for the
Yeah.
I think she's on the Fever still. She's like Caitlin Clark's best friend now, right?
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh, she's from Washington?
she played at Central Valley,
No
and
idea.
she has a twin, and they both went to Stanford, and that team won the national championship. They won the state, and then they went to the Dick's Sporting Goods. They had to appeal the state to be able to go because it was, of course, Washington State. Sorry, WIAA, you're always behind the times, and they wouldn't let them go, and they had to appeal. They won. They went, and they won the whole thing. This
That's
little
amazing.
school. I mean, they're not actually little, but
Yeah.
nobody knew Central Valley when they're playing these national behemoth
Yeah.
programs. And then I remember one of my first years coaching for the boys, the Rainier Beach team with Lodrick and Roderick Stewart and Nate Robinson, and they're throwing dunks off the backboard at state, like
Yeah.
on purpose, not like somebody missed it, like in
Yeah.
transition off the backboard, Nate's two-hand dunking. I
Yeah.
mean, I thought, oh, I was 22, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is how high school basketball will be. Like, no, it was a golden era. High school basketball is not always like that, where guys are throwing dunks off the backboard. So,
Okay, I gotta ask one thing before we
yeah,
get into the specifics because you've been around the tournament for a long time. So both of the courts, the way they do it at the Tacoma Dome, I'm
yep,
assuming they do it the same way. They have the curtain
yep,
and they have two courts. And then one of the courts, well, I'd say both of the hoops, you get this like depth perception.
oh yeah,
And so players talk about it. And how, I mean, you really need to get out there, warm up and shoot and get used to it, but there's really no, and then just like the air, the
hmm,
area, right? Like you're so used to playing in these compact gyms,
yep.
right? And so it's just mentally different.
It's totally
What would
different.
you tell your players? Like, or did it seem to matter at all, or is it just kind of overblown? Because
No,
we
it's
always
not
talk
over.
about it as fans.
Yeah, it's not overblown. As a coach, the hardest thing was it's hard to describe. The court feels really long, and the way the sound carries and the way it's so spacious, it's really hard to talk to your team on the other end of the floor. Whereas in a high
Yes.
school gym, it's still hard, but you can do it. In the Tacoma Dome, they really can't hear you because you have another court going on, and you can kind of hear the noise there
You can
too.
hear the whistle
And you
sometimes
can
if it's
hear
quiet enough.
right, and you
Yeah.
can hear a band on the other side because of where the acoustics are. So it's
Yeah.
really hard to hear. When they're on your side, it's easy. So, or it's not easy, but you can do it. The shooting is real. The curtain side is easier. The open side with stands and vastness is harder. I think the best players still make
Play
shots,
well.
but
Yeah.
day one early, like it's a tricky start for sure. We played a 9 a.m. game my first year coaching the girls. We lost on an awful buzzer beater. It really honestly makes me want to throw up every time I think about it.
Yeah.
um, and the routine of that 9 a.m. game is tricky. Like when you get there, do you spend the night before? We never did. If I did it differently, I might do that. There's just all kinds of, and these are kids in school too. So you have to have like your school being willing to let you do that. And
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing, but there's magic in the Tacoma Dome. People who don't go or haven't lived it enough will say like, why don't they play at a UW, which they did for a while.
Yeah.
Um, of course it's a better basketball arena. It
Yeah.
just doesn't have the same state magic to me.
And it's just like we're talking about this, and I mean, we're talking about memories that have happened over the course of 30 years, right? So,
Yeah. Yep.
it's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, I was fortunate enough with the boys. I don't know. We went like I probably went there 13 times in the 15, 16 years I coached boys. And then my first 2 years with the girls, 2 or 3 years.
Were you on the coaching staff in 2000?
No, I was in
Not yet.
college. No,
Okay, so you were part of the state championship team in
2006. We went
2006.
back to the state championship in 2012.
That's the one I was
We
at.
did,
Yeah.
we had some fourth place finishes and fifth place
Yep.
finishes, and I got to finish a game once that you were involved in at the
Yeah.
Tacoma Dome when our
Head
lovely,
coach.
illustrious head coach got thrown out of the game.
That
Um,
was great. Was that the
but
first time you called plays and
that
was
was the first time I was a head coach in a varsity basketball game. It was like
yeah.
the state tournament for fourth place.
I think I moved up the chain. I
You
was the
did.
manager.
You
I
were the
was the
third
stat
assistant or
keeper, but I
something.
was like,
Yeah,
okay,
second
if something
assistant.
happens to the next two assistants, then
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
the president, right?
yep.
Um,
For the girls, I coached 2 years in a row. It was great, and then COVID robbed us of a year where we went undefeated, and
yeah,
it robbed everybody. It sucked. Which I will say this, like this is a little bit of my ego getting involved, but everybody is like Garfield's won 4 state championships in a row in girls basketball, which is
yeah,
incredible and is technically true. But they never say that they won two or whatever it is, won COVID break, won three because we won Metro, we were undefeated. We beat Garfield twice that year. We're not. I mean, it would have been a very different year. I can't. We would have been a favorite. We would have been in the
yeah,
mix for sure.
yeah,
We would have been in the mix. So let's talk about this year and who's in the
yeah,
mix.
yeah. Well,
The goal here, Kev, is I know probably girls a little bit better than boys right now, but I've watched both a lot this year. I am known to get on NFHS and just watch a random game, which is the high school network. I did some research. I want to give people who might be going or might care about Washington State high school basketball, like what to watch, what games would be fun to watch, who are the players to watch, the best I can. I'll miss people because I don't know all of them. It's not my
yeah,
job for a living to do high school basketball. But if anyone likes this preview, you can hire me to broadcast the state championship game. Okay. And if you don't like this, Kev will put in the notes like what time to skip forward to.
by the way, my wife was listening to our podcast and she said, one of you has a great voice for the
Oh,
podcast and one of you doesn't.
oh boy.
And she was like, I'm so annoyed with your voice, Kevin, but Brian's voice was made for the podcast. So,
Christine, that completely makes up for the time you made fun of my Seahawks recap or preview or whatever it was. Feel free to name your second child Brian. Okay. So Wednesday, so the way that we do it in the bracket now is there are 12 teams in Tacoma.
yeah,
So there are 4 teams with buys. This is true in 3A. I don't believe this is true. No, this is true in 4A as well. So the top 4 seeds theoretically have a bye, except for they have to play this state regional game, which has really thrown off some matchups. So you don't have the number 1 and number 2 seeds per the committee on separate sides, which I'll get to in a second. So Wednesday's a loser out game, and here are some matchups to watch if you're going to Tacoma. So 3A girls, this is not biased. Seattle Prep versus Eastside Catholic for the 4th time this year. They played in the Metro tournament where Eastside beat them. I think Eastside's won twice and Prep's won once. You could go watch Grace Renners of Prep, one of my former players who's going to Cornell. It might be really fun for people to watch Amy Naduka, former Seattle Prep Panther camper, who's a freshman at Eastside Catholic, who has offers from Stanford, Cal, Providence, UNLV, Pittsburgh, and Maryland.
Ooh,
So she's legit, and that's a fun matchup. That's a fun one to go see. I mean, she's a freshman. She's big. She's athletic.
yeah.
She's a real deal.
You
So
play a team 3 times. Like, how much? Like, I mean, the scouts there. It's almost
yeah,
like a science, right? Like, it's
it,
literally just execution.
well, I would say sure execution, but my emphasis was always 50-50 balls, and you have to rebound.
Yep.
And the times we were not able to pull a game out against a good team, they out rebounded us. To your point, people are going to miss shots. like who's getting those loose balls,
Effort.
especially on day one, when you're
Yep.
evenly matched.
Yep.
Game right after that, that's at 12:10 on Wednesday, so you can join me in the Tacoma Dome for that one. Bellevue girls and Meadowdale girls are after that. Meadowdale's a really good team, and Bellevue has some really good young guards. Dylan Johnson is a frosh who some rankings have her as a top 5 freshman in Washington. So that's a fun one. But the real bracket that people should be watching is the 4A girls. It's just loaded. Camas and Lake Stevens play on the first day. Camas has a commit, Sophie Buzzard, great name, going to Portland State, and Kira Thompson going to Boise State. So they got 2 D1 kids, not to mention underclassmen.
Starring for the Camas Papermakers.
Papermakers, baby. What a mascot.
You know how cool it is to know or to meet someone from Camas and to be able to spit back at them and say, go Papermakers.
Yeah.
And then they look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah.
And
They're
I'm
like, oh, cool. I've never heard anybody bring that up before.
yeah, you're a loser, right? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just love high school basketball. So you guys were always in state.
Exactly. Glacier Peak and Union girls. Union has a player named Brooklyn Haywood.
Yeah.
The first time I saw her, Kev, we went to Oregon State team camp, and she was an 8th grader going into 9th grade, and she was the best player.
Tearing it up.
The year before we went to that camp, it was Haley Van Lith who was tearing it up.
Yeah.
And then it was Brooklyn Haywood the next year, and she won the one-on-one contest against like 18-year-olds and really good players. I just remember being like, who is this? And so now I think she's a junior.
And she's at Union?
She's at Union. There's some interesting, I'm not going to get into her business, but I've seen some stuff. She started at Camas, actually.
Interesting.
And she went to Union, and she does not like Camas. There's some bad blood there.
Union.
So I'm kind of hoping they play at some point.
At one point, Union, and I think it was around the 2010, 2011, Union opened up.
Yeah.
And they were just it's a huge school in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And because it's a gigantic school, that means they have an enormous pool of players, right? And so Union is always at state. For a lot of sports.
They have been for a lot of sports. They're good at football. Yep. They're kind of a powerhouse. It looks like they would have to play like in a consolation game or in the state championship. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be pretty incredible. So, those are some early Wednesday games. There's some 4A boys, 3A boys, Auburn, Olympia, and Liberty and Bellevue. Liberty and Bellevue is a league matchup. Bellevue's a really good team. Liberty's so fun to watch. They play fast. They shoot threes. They have a really, really good player.
Good for Liberty because they're not a team that you usually see. At least
represent Renton, no big deal.
Yeah, they were in Sea King when I was at Kennedy Catholic, I think.
Yes,
sure
I think they
them.
did, and then
we were playing them.
They moved, yeah. They're fun. They're a fun team. So that would be, and that's, going to be 2 fan bases who are tired of each other, and that's always fun. The next day, winners of some of these games will be in a quarterfinal matchup, and we could end up with some really fun matchups on Thursday. 4A boys, the number 1 and number 2 seeds by the seeding committee could play in the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
So Gonzaga Prep, who I think is really good, and Auburn, who's also really good.
Really quick, when you think of Gonzaga Prep, what's one player that comes to your mind?
Well, Adam Morrison.
Oh, yeah, Adam Morrison went there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Ryan.
Wait, no, he didn't. Adam Morrison went to Meade. He went to Meade. He was so good at Meade.
You're thinking of other Gonzaga Prep great, David Stockton. Or how about Ryan Nicholas? Or how about...
I will never forget Ryan Nicholas. Because he
25 on us and
is the greatest post position high schooler I've ever seen. He sat like he was on a low yoga ball when he posted up, and he would just use his body and just
Mitch,
clear everybody out. No,
was it Mitch?
Knows because we told Mitch this is how you need to post, Mitch. Anyway,
he went to Portland, had a great career.
Yeah, Mike Phillips will pass that on to Mitch for us.
Old school C-Town sports.
3A boy quarterfinal would be really fun is if Bellevue can beat Liberty. Bellevue's got a fun team in Garfield. Jimmy Haywood, I think, is a sophomore for Garfield. Kev, he's he's a top 5 sophomore in the state. He's really good. He's been hurt, so I don't know if he's back, but man, is he fun.
Is Legend smiling on Garfield? Am I making that up?
He's gone.
He's
He's
gone.
done. He's done. Well, I
He
think
went
he's
to.
done with eligibility. I think he. Oh, you know what? No, no, no. I think
Did he
he's
go to
playing
he
one of the
transferred
prep
to, like,
schools. He's like a
yeah,
prolific prep or something. Yeah.
got it.
Maybe you can double check that. But girls, 4A come back to Cooper Cup. Davis and Lake Washington would be the 1 and 2 seeds playing each other in a quarterfinal. Davis is a girls team that beat Meade, Union, and Camas earlier in the year. So they
They have a high
pretty
net
good.
rank.
They have a high net rank. And then Union with Brooklyn Haywood, who is like, I mean, if you look her up, she's like a 95 in terms of like her star rating.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Chiawana has 2 commits for WSU in New Mexico playing for them.
If you were like, here's what I'm getting. Like these
Yeah, just I'm
these
nerding out way
no,
too
no,
much.
no, 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 no. These random schools in Eastern Washington, not in the
Yeah.
Seattle metro area.
Yeah,
They have ballers.
yeah.
And I wonder why. Why is that? And why is it not
I think the
doesn't seem like the
perception.
talent is go ahead.
I think the perception that, metro area Seattle, I think maybe more for boys, that's
Then-
true. Although there's some good players, east of the mountains. For girls, it's spread out a little bit more because it's
Yeah.
less about, there's nobody playing above the rim. It's not athleticism. There is a gap in athleticism, but it's so much skill and development and what you can.
Yeah. I mean,
what you
there's
could
been
do.
some random dudes from random high schools. I'm thinking of like Joe Harris, who was like an NBA.
Chelan,
Went
Yeah.
to Chelan.
a goat.
Like, there's probably a
Chelan
few others
goats.
that I'm forgetting, but yeah, that's a great example. Like Haley Van Lith was at
Cashmere.
Cashmere.
Yeah, you're right. Those are good examples. Those are really random. And it's kind of shocking that both, I mean, Joe Harris's dad was a coach for a long time at Chelan.
Yeah.
So he's a coach's kid, but Haley Van Lith, it's kind of surprising she never like transferred west of the mountains. That seems to be what people do.
Yeah.
And then you've got Woodinville and Auburn on the girls' side, which would be a good game as well. If I had to predict champions, so Rainier Beach has not lost since the first game of the year, and then they lost to Bellarmine Prep in the state regionals, which put them on the same bracket as our beloved Seattle Prep Panthers, which is tough. Beach has Jalen Petty, New Mexico. I've said on this podcast, Felix's favorite player. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Caden Powers, who's going to Rutgers. Beach is going to win 3A. I'm sorry to Prep and everybody else. That would be my prediction. 4A boys is really hard. I'm going to go with G Prep. They beat Richland in their district championship game. They're rolling.
Yeah.
3A girls, you cannot go against Central Valley. They're 24-0. And Brendan McCaughey is the McDonald's All-American who's going to UW, 21st ranked player in the country.
Good pickup
So-
for UW.
I'm really excited to watch. I've never seen her play live, right? So that's fun.
Yeah.
North Thurston is the 2 seed there, and they're kind of sneaky. They have a player named Soraya Ogaldez. Sorry, she has 2,000 career points, and she's about as athletic as a girls basketball player you'll find. So watch her. 4A girls, totally wide open. I'm going to give it to Jeff Wilson, a coaching friend of mine who, for 3A, they've been to the championship a number of times. I'm just going to say Lake Washington gets it done in the 4A. So there you go.
Oh.
That way too much information all in a row. Probably was.
Yeah. But if someone likes high school basketball, they're coming to the podcast.
Yeah.
We offer so much here.
Yeah.
Segment. Dude, I'm getting psyched for the Mariners, man.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm doing some scouting for my fantasy baseball leagues. I need to look at my roster to get prepared for our draft next weekend. I got some homework to do.
I was going to say, Kev,
Yeah.
next weekend at this time, it'll be right after our salary cap auction for our, we won't say how much money, but a big money league with big money stakes. We've already had the minor league draft.
Yeah.
We've got our keeper contracts in.
Yeah.
It's a big one. I'm not sure anyone will want to hear about it, but we'll have to say something next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe people want to know Like we're gonna draft our Mariners all-time starting lineup. I really like this, by the way. It means I don't have to do research beforehand. Um, I'm sick of
After
homework.
after
Yeah.
I just like listed off 10,000 things about the state tournament with no breath in between, you're like,
Yeah. I mean,
what I don't like to do.
if you ask me about UW football recruiting, I could tell you way more than
That's
anyone
fair.
needs to know.
That is fair.
Um, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna draft our lineups.
Yep.
We're gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna give Brian first pick since he gave me first pick last week, and I
Oh,
think I'm the unofficial winner of it. By the way, did you
Oh,
see they had the Husky Legends and Todd McCullough was on campus for the game on
I did
Tuesday?
not see that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
there's pictures of our also podcast guest Joe Knight played
Yeah.
for the Huskies, so he was on the court with like
Yeah, I saw
Bobby
that one.
Jones.
No
Yeah, yeah,
offense
yeah.
to Joe, but
Yeah.
like Joe, Husky legend might be strong.
You can scroll over and you see Tom McCullough.
Spencer
Um,
Hawes was one of the Husky
Yeah,
legends. Yep.
yeah. I'm
He was
sure
it was
that
actually pretty cool. He was out there. He was the Husky that they were featuring that day. So
Yeah.
he was there with his
family.
mom, his uncle, and his wife out
Yeah.
at center court. And his uncle obviously was an amazing player. So
They
his
were
dad also was a good player. But
probably debating the merits of our lineup.
I think that's what happened. They were
Yeah.
debating it. Yeah.
Their pregame cocktails, Joe Knight naturally brought it up, and they said, "What? They chose who?
Yeah.
They chose
They were not
Marquise
loving
Chris."
Yeah. They were not loving my lack of flexibility on defense with Welp and McCulloch. So we'll see if we do better with the Mariners. All right, I have first pick. So here are the rules: 9 position players plus DH. So you have to have a left fielder, a center fielder, and a right fielder.
Yeah.
Okay, just like our fantasy league. And then 3 starters and a closer. We're not going to do any middle relief. Oh, and a manager. But we'll save the managers to the end. Nobody wants a manager now. Ken Griffey Jr. is my pick.
All right, that's easy.
Center field done.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of the only tricky part about that is like, I mean, it's pretty cool to root for Julio, right?
Yeah.
But I don't even know if he'll be your center field pick later. We'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Randy Johnson.
Oh, interesting. See that? I feel like now there's pressure on me because you took Randy. I mean, obviously Felix is the other starter, right? And if I don't take Felix, similar to a fantasy draft, you
I
can
could
just load
screw
up.
you.
You
Yeah,
could
now
really
you're
load
just
up.
giving me ideas.
But I could also have Griffey and Edgar. No, I'm doing it. My son is named after him. Felix Hernandez is
Felix
the pick.
Hernandez. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely gonna go with Edgar.
Okay. Yeah,
And
you're
if
just
I-
picking who I say. That's cool.
Yeah, here's the great thing about Edgar. He'd probably coach up my other hitters.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it just to piss you off. I'm gonna take Ichiro.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew I
That's
could
a
do
good
that.
pick.
Yeah. I like Ichiro at the top of my lineup with Griffey batting third with Felix on the mound. I'm feeling good
got
about that.
2 Hall of Famers. Well,
Yeah,
I have
that's
2
fair.
Hall of Famers.
So do you.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll get a
Yeah.
guy that should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll take Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Jay Buhner. A guy that should be in the Hall of Fame. The Bone.
Is he your
sorry.
favorite bald athlete of all time?
Oh boy. No, you know what? You know who I like better? I like Matt
Please don't.
Hassel. Matt
I thought you were
Hasselbeck.
gonna say Vin Baker. I'm like, oh my god.
No, but Vin Baker's making a little comeback. Have you noticed that in the
Yeah,
news?
I saw the article. Yeah.
My wife was texting me about him. She was like, "Do you think he was the first athlete?" She's like, "He's the first athlete I remember being open about mental health issues."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, it's kind of interesting. Maybe Vin Baker's okay." I don't know.
He's
Yeah,
also in the C-Town Sports Top 100.
Jesus. Okay. Sorry, who did you take? I'm so distracted.
You ranked him.
I know. Well, he had good numbers for 2 years.
I took A-Rod.
You took A-Rod at shortstop?
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's a good pick. It's a big drop off after A-Rod at shortstop, by the way. I can keep him there. This is tricky. I think everywhere else there's good depth, and we only have 2 of each, so I don't have to reach for somebody, you know? Just like you can just wait on Buhner. You could take him with your last pick because I already took Ichiro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Robinson Cano at second base.
That's not bad.
Well, it's better than not bad. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But I like that you said it's not bad. Thanks
Well,
for
I'm
that.
gonna go for my fourth Hall of Famer and get Adrian Beltre, third
Okay.
base.
Um,
Great fielder.
can you watch what you're saying for a second? Because we've talked about this on the podcast. He's
What?
not a Hall of Famer for his time in Seattle. He didn't even make an All-Star team.
Hey, he was great if you look at the metrics. If you
He's
look
my
at his
fourth
advanced
ranked
stats.
third baseman.
Who did you rank ahead of him?
I'm not telling you right now. I guess it doesn't matter. I had Kyle Seager, number one, Jim Presley, and Mike Blowers before Beltre because their time in Seattle was better.
Yeah.
Are they better Major League Baseball players? No.
Or announcers? No.
Mike Blowers was
We
fine.
still don't know what happened to Mike Blowers. It's like the biggest mystery in
Okay, we
Seattle
don't,
sports.
but-
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry, go ahead.
it's okay. All right.
Wow, you really don't like Beltre's time in Seattle?
No, I don't. I'm down on it. I'm gonna go Mark Langston as my second pitcher.
Oh, nice. You know, we got some flack for ranking him in our C-Town Sports.
That's
200.
ridiculous. Go look at his numbers.
No, we ranked him too low.
Oh, thank you.
I think-
All
who
right.
did
I'm
we
on
rank?
that. I'm on
Yeah.
that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Langston, just real quick. Yeah, maybe I
God, are
should
you
take that.
creating a run on
He's
starting
fifth.
pitchers?
He's fifth all time in wins. I mean, I could have obviously gone Jamie Moyer, but Langston.
You'd choose Jamie Moyer over Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, because of the
those guys.
length of his career, you know.
The literal length of his career too.
Yeah. Wait, what?
How
other?
old are you, by the way?
I'm 46.
Could you believe that Jamie Moyer was still pitching up to 45?
I no, I cannot. That's ridiculous. Can we talk really quick while we're talking about starting pitchers about what I sent you?
What did you send me?
You probably didn't look at it. So MLB is like in Seattle for the Cactus League right now.
Oh yeah.
And they said, who's going to start on opening day? It's an interesting question. I don't really think George Kirby's in the mix for that.
Yeah.
But they had Gilbert, Castillo, and Kirby. I'm like, cool question. I like it. Okay. Let me just read something really quick. Gilbert, 3.23 ERA, 220 strikeouts last year,
Yep.
37 walks. Like that's silly, right?
Yep.
Castillo, 3.64 ERA, 175 strikeouts and 175 innings, 47 walks. Really good year, and he's the vet. Kirby, 3.53 ERA, 179 strikeouts, 23 walks. By the way, those are absurd strike to walkout ratios.
Yeah.
Here were their records last year.
Yeah, I did read this. By the
Logan
way.
Gilbert, 9-12 with a 3.23 ERA. Castillo, 3.64 ERA, 11-12. Kirby, actually 14-11 with a 3.53 ERA. All three of them should be like 18-6 with those numbers.
Yeah.
God, now I'm pissed about the Mariners again.
All right, you did that to yourself.
Fair.
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Jamie Moyer.
Okay, after all that. You didn't pick Logan Gilbert. Okay.
No.
I'm it. So the positions neither of us have drafted are closer, left field, which is
Catcher.
an absolute abyss.
First
First base and catcher. Stop yawning on the podcast. I'm going to take Raul Ibanez as my left fielder.
That's cute.
That's
Hope he hits-
cute.
I hope he hits lots of home runs for you.
Well, he's probably the best left fielder in Mariners history. We've had this conversation.
Do you think he
before.
took steroids?
Raul?
Yeah.
I wouldn't make that accusation on a podcast. He seems
I'm not
like a good
making an
guy.
accusation. It was just a question.
I'm not going to engage in that.
That's
about
as
that?
right wing as we'll get on this podcast. Me just throwing out unfounded facts.
That is probably as right wing as we'll get. That is a good point.
Let me think of someone who I want playing in the infield for me. Actually, I'll go catcher, Cal Raleigh.
Dang it. I was really, yeah.
You're stuck with our manager now.
Yeah. Oh, can I double him up?
Just use him as both.
I don't think he's the second best manager in Mariners history, although it's not a long list. Okay. You took Cal. I'm going to go Tino Martinez at first because I want to lock him up because he's my favorite first baseman in Mariners history. You're
Wow.
dumbfounded right now.
Tino Martinez.
You weren't expecting that at all. That's awesome.
Second base, Brett Boone.
Yeah. It's a good pick.
I have Brett
That's
Boone,
who I would've
Edgar, A-Rod.
Your lineup is actually.
Carroll is going to be batting ninth for me, man.
Here's the thing. People are going to be like, oh, Kev, what a great lineup because you have Beltray in there. No, you have the 230 average, 81 RBI Beltray in your lineup. Okay?
With
Just
the
want to be
goal,
clear.
he also was a great on the field. He's great.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't think he won a gold glove in Seattle, did he?
We don't measure defense by the amount of gold gloves you get. All right, get out of
Okay.
here with that.
Okay.
All right, who are you picking?
Okay. Well, Raul Ibanez in 2008 had 43 doubles, so there's my left fielder for you.
Yeah.
God, you should have picked Jose Lopez. A couple great years. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in Nelson Cruz as my DH.
See, I was thinking of that, but I had
Well, you can't do. You have Edgar. Yeah.
Could have played him at first. Would you have let that happen?
You would have played him at first.
Yeah.
Played like 2 games there.
John Olerud is my first baseman.
Oh, Mr. Mariner left on the sideline.
Yeah.
I didn't have Olerud on the board, but that's a good pick. I probably should have picked him over Tina. Dang it. All right. I'll go Kyle Seager at third. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I like Siegs. My lineup's almost all the way complete. I got to find a shortstop while you're talking. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go ahead and get Julio as my center fielder.
Oh, yeah. God, your lineup's good.
Julio leading off for sure.
No, I'm going to make you put it in order in a second because that'll be more fun. Okay, I'm highlighting our team on my cheat sheet here. So,
By the way, you know Julio and his girlfriend from The Rain broke up. Jordan.
again,
Well,
they broke up once, and then he went in a huge slump, and so did she. They got back together. He started hitting again.
Yeah, I think they're
Oh
not together.
no, this is bad news,
This-
Kev.
yeah. Although maybe he's
bad
focused on
news.
hitting. Who knows?
I mean, if
Okay.
they broke up long enough ago, it was like the middle of the year when they broke up, and he was terrible. So,
Yeah.
causation, correlation, I don't know. I'm gonna lock in Freddie Garcia as my third starter.
Really, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I
I know
like
it is,
Freddie.
Kev. I know.
Hello, Freddie.
Okay, you have a catcher, first baseman, second, short, third, center, DH, 2 starters. You could go starter. You could go Buhner. You got to figure out a left fielder. I don't know who you're going to put out there. Good luck to you.
I'm gonna get a Rosarena potential.
Wow. You're telling me that a Rosarena is the second best left fielder in
I
Mariners
mean, it's
history?
either him or Al Martin.
That's incredible. Randy Rosarena. I just want him to hear this podcast and know he's already the second best ever. That's incredible. I don't even think you're wrong. That's the crazy part. Like, I'm trying to look up and see if anyone had.
No, dude.
I
Look
mean,
at Baseball Reference and pull up the. It's sad.
Yeah. I got nothing. The hard part is when you look up top 10 seasons, the cool thing about the Mariners is it's just loaded with A-Rod, Griffey, Ichiro, Edgar, and then like a Cano season thrown in, right?
Yep.
So you can't really look through the history and find somebody that you're really looking for. It's really hard. Who are the other left fielder options? I got nothing. Phil
It's
Bradley,
sad,
maybe?
dude. Yeah, it's really sad. I'm just gonna name off the
Yeah.
opening day starters, from present to non-present, past. Canzone, Kelnick, Winker, Fraley, Marmolejos, Santana, Suzuki, Dyson, Aoki, Ackley, Morse, Carp, Bradley, Chavez, Ibanez, Wynn, Macklemore, Al Martin. So a Rosarena wasn't a bad pick.
No, it's not. It's not. We did this one other time when we went through positions or something and you named the Marmolejos and it just some of those starters are unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, Phil Bradley's the only other option, I think. So I was trying to see if I could get Nelson Cruz. I don't think he ever played left field. I think he played right field.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you could get Edgar and Nelson Cruz, I mean, come on. All right. Well, you just went, right?
Yep.
I'm taking Sasaki as my closer.
Oh, nice.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm taking Edwin Diaz as my closer.
Oh, God, that's even better. God bless it. You didn't even prepare and you're beating me. This is embarrassing. You
He's
need one
so
more
good.
starter, and you need a right fielder. I'm gonna take Omar Vizquel as my shortstop.
Dude, talk about defense.
I mean,
Nothing's
he and
getting
Beltre are
past him.
essentially the same. Like their
The
peak years,
wall.
not in Seattle, great
Can
defensively.
you believe he's not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, maybe he should be. I don't know. It's a good one. All right, what do you got?
Sorry, I just want to know how many he's won
Are you?
11 gold gloves.
Yeah,
Not in the Hall of Fame. It's just so
that
bad.
is kind of silly. Like if defense matters, which it
Yeah.
should, yeah, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame.
All right. I get one more pitcher. There's nothing left.
There's some guys left.
Let's go with damn, this is bad. This is bad for the podcast. I'll just get Jay Buhner literally so I can
Yeah,
think
you gotta buy
through.
some time. Buy some
Yeah.
time. Yeah, good call. I mean, your pitcher options, you're looking at Eric Hansen, you're looking at Mike Moore, you're looking at Iwakuma. Um, yeah,
No one I'm
it's a
really
drop off after the
yeah.
top five, right?
Yeah.
Who else is in the top? I had this up on my, so War all time. Those are all the names I said.
Yeah.
Those are the top eight. We've named the top eight.
So I'll get Jay Buhner.
I
And
mean,
then
you probably are better off like going. I mean, you could go peak James Paxton, honestly. Or you could, yeah, Logan Gilbert. He has the best whip in Mariners history. Jason Vargas, Marco Gonzalez.
for some reason I just like remember Cliff Lee and he like
He
hardly
was
played for
not
us.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking at, I mean, Gilbert, this is wild, Kev. Gilbert is now sixth all time in ERA, first in whip, second in hits per nine, third on bases and balls per nine. He's third strikeouts per nine in Mariners history. Like he's and Kirby's right there with him in all those stats. It's really interesting. All right, but it's not even your pick. I was helping you pick. Um, I need to pick Dan Wilson as my catcher, and I think my lineup is full.
And I'll go ahead and get Logan Gilbert as my starting pitcher.
Yeah, I just sold you on it. I love it.
Okay. So
How
who's
about that? This is a big part of the Mariners preview that we just walked into. Logan Gilbert is an all-time top six Mariners starting pitcher, is what we're arguing.
Yeah, it's not a controversial argument.
I think it is. I don't think it's true. I think it was a bad pick by you. Okay. You have to put your lineup together. Okay, I'm going to read it for you.
All
Okay,
right.
you have Edgar, Buhner, Julio, Randy, Beltre, A-Rod, Boone, Olerud, and Cal. So you're leading off with Julio.
Julio.
Who's going second for you?
I think I got to go with. God, I want to put Boone or Beltre. He's gonna get on base more.
Yeah. I mean, Olerud, but he can't run. He's the slowest dude ever.
So I'll probably go with Boone,
Okay. Boone second.
and then I'll go Edgar third,
Edgar third. Amazing. You got to go
Um,
A-Rod fourth.
A-Rod cleanup.
Yep.
Then I'll go Cal.
Okay.
Then I'll go Beltre.
You got Buhner batting eighth and Olerud batting ninth.
Oh, I forgot about Buhner. I think okay, so I think
That's
Buhner,
amazing, by the
I
way.
have to move Buhner after A-Rod, bump down Cal, bump down Beltre. I think the Razorana is batting ninth, and then
Oh,
who am I
yeah.
missing?
Rosarena. Yeah. Olerud. Did you put him? Olerud and Rosarena 8-9?
Yeah.
That's incredible. What a lineup.
God, could you imagine?
My lineup sucks.
Backer?
Your lineup is better.
And then
All
my
right.
rotation. Oh yeah, it's just in order.
You're gonna go Randy.
Moyer.
You'd probably go Randy Gilbert Moyer because you want
Yeah.
to split the lefties, you know?
7-game series. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Ichiro's leading off. I like that part. I'd probably go. This part of the lineup is solid. I'd go Ichiro, followed up by Robinson Cano batting second,
That's a
Griffey
great second. player.
third, Nelson Cruz fourth. But then it gets kind of dirty.
Yeah, you lost this draft, my man.
And then I've got Ibanez, Seager, Tino Martinez, Dan Wilson, and Omar batting last. Like hitting wise, like you crushed me.
Yeah, Randy's
did that
gonna mow
happen?
you down.
How did that happen?
You got first pick too.
It's yeah. You suckered me in to Felix Hernandez. That's what happened. But even your pictures, I go Felix Langston Garcia. Like to your point, is Logan Gilbert any worse than Mark Langston? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. The
And
fact
he's
that
better than Freddie Garcia, probably.
here's the biggest takeaway from this exercise. Arrizareta might be the second best left fielder of all time if he puts together a decent season here.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is number one by far the biggest takeaway. That is blowing my mind. The second biggest takeaway is that Logan Gilbert and George Kirby are in the running to be top 5 pitchers in Mariners history already.
yeah.
And then the third one is that the third basemen suck in Mariners history, even though some of them were good outside of
I hate to bring up your age again, but it's crazy to me that Jamie Moyer was still pitching and he was your age.
Kev,
That
thanks
is
for that.
so
Appreciate it. All right.
Let's move to top 5.
Top
This
5,
one's
baby.
fun. Let's just go back and forth. Let's name our top
Yeah.
5 sports movies. Oscars was tonight.
Yep.
Um,
Oscar season. I was just gonna look up because we weren't watching it.
yeah.
Do you know who won the Best Picture? Did you look?
No.
Oh, Honora won Best Picture.
She won the best
Well,
actress.
it's not a she. It's a movie name.
No, but the actress.
Oh
She,
yeah. Nora, that's kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll watch it now. I didn't watch any of the movies this year.
Uh,
Last year I tried to watch them all. Do you ever do this? You try to watch them when you see the nominees and stuff.
yeah.
And then this year, like none of it interesting to me. I haven't even seen Captain America yet, and that's more
I need to
interesting.
watch that.
All right, so
Okay.
speaking of movies, Kev, you're right. We're gonna go back and forth, draft style because it's draft season. Everybody loves drafts.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
Seahawks are
going
gonna
number
trade
one?
DK Metcalf for a first round pick, maybe.
Yeah. You know,
Maybe
you know
not.
what my number 1 pick is? You want s'more? S'more of what? This is bad. This is bad.
Yeah, so far it's great.
Yeah. God, I forgot the line. Anyway,
Oh
Sandlot.
my goodness! I
Sandlot.
knew it was gonna be Sandlot.
Yeah.
So
Killing me,
easy.
Smalls.
Yeah, the fact that I would have put if Vegas had, or if I set odds as a Vegas odds maker,
Yeah.
it would have been 1 to 5 that Sandlot was your number 1 pick.
So
Meaning
good.
I would have to put $500 to win 100.
Yeah.
Okay,
Such a good movie.
here we go. Age difference right away. My number
Yeah.
1 overall. Bull Durham.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's so good. It's so good. Kevin Costner at his best. I mean, I could just go Costner baseball movies in my top 5.
Yeah.
He's incredible, but Bull Durham is great. Tim Robbins, Susan Sarandon. It's so great. The best part, Kev, I mean, there's many good parts. The part that I think you would like immediately is they go out there to talk to Tim Robbins, who's like a young fireballer pitcher who can't throw strikes, but he
Yeah.
throws like 99 miles per hour. And Kevin Costner's Crash Davis, journeyman catcher, is going to set the minor league record for home runs, right? But he can't get to the show. So great premise already. You're already
Yeah.
in, I can tell.
Yeah.
They go out to the mound and they start talking about all these things that people always theorize they're talking about on those mound visits.
Yeah.
That's not baseball. They're like, how do they get the hacks off of the second baseman's glove? They need to kill a live chicken. And then what are they going to get the first baseman for his wedding?
Yeah.
Who didn't do it last time? So like, actions are louder than words, Kev. So
That's true. That's
All right.
true. Okay.
back to you.
Back to me. Coach Carter.
I knew it. I
Yeah.
that was
Actually, I take it back. Can I take back my pick?
sure.
Love
I'm
and
not picking
basketball.
I'm not picking Coach Carter, so don't worry about it. You
Yeah,
can have
yeah.
it for your third pick.
Love and basketball.
Oh
I
my God.
love Love and basketball. It's such a good movie.
You're
So good.
Such a what are you, a millennial?
Yeah.
Is that
Love and
what you
basketball
are?
is great.
God, this
Dude,
is such a
it's
millennial
ahead of
draft.
its time. It's ahead of its time. It was about the central character was a woman's basketball player. Like she goes to USC, then she plays overseas, then she makes the WNBA. Right? It's so
All right,
good.
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't think I've ever seen it, so I should give it a shot.
Should
All
give
right,
it
my
a-
second pick is White Man Can't Jump. I love White Man Can't Jump. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, Kevin. Jeez, Louise.
We-
My goodness. Kev, Sidney
Yeah.
Dean, played by Wesley Snipes, and Woody Harrelson as Buddy Hoyle.
Yeah.
It's so good. They're just out. Buddy Hoyle looks like he can't play at all.
Yeah.
And he's just going out there hustling people for money on the Venice Beach basketball courts. Rosie Perez is fantastic. She has a spot on Jeopardy. Everything's good about this movie.
Okay, I regret it
Timeless.
because I forgot about my favorite movie of all time. If you were to ask me my favorite movie of all time, it's always been my favorite movie of all time.
Away in a Manger.
Finding
Oh.
Forrester.
Oh.
With Sean Connery and Rob
Yeah.
Brown, who's also in Coach Carter.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
such
I'm
a
going to
good
give you. Yeah.
and Buster
I like,
Rhymes is in there too,
He
dude.
is. Yeah. I do like that movie. To call that a sports movie is a stretch.
I mean, he's a basketball player. Like one of the main scenes is he misses the free throw at the end.
I guess that's true. Sure.
And then
yeah.
they go to a
Okay.
Knicks game. Come on, man. Sean Connery's character has social anxiety. It's such a good movie.
Do you think on IMDb's top 100 sports movies, which is actually made by The Athletic, that
Yeah.
Finding Forrester makes the list?
I don't think it does. It probably doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
What was your second one? Love and Basketball? Number 80.
There you go.
You just got excited about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, number 80. All right. Number 3 for me. This is a clear. Oh boy, hold on. My list erased on accident. Oh no, where'd my list go, Kev? There it is. Remember the Titans.
Oh yeah. That's great.
So
Kind
good.
of it's a feel good one, right?
Yeah, there's some overt racism in it, so it's not like feel good the whole time.
Yeah,
but-
but it's like Disney racism, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's not as in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
I think I have
mean,
to rewatch it, but
Julius and Gary Bertier,
Yes.
coming together on the
yeah.
football field, and it's strong
Left side,
side, strong side. That's great. It's got Ryan Gosling in an early role as just a
Oh,
total
yeah.
nerd, and then he became a dreamboat. It's good. It's Denzel. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a good
All right.
movie. Yeah. So
Your
I'll
turn.
just follow up with Coach Carter. Channing Tatum, isn't it? Samuel L. Jackson.
Wait, he is? Channing
Yeah.
Tatum's in that movie?
Channing is
I had no
dude.
idea.
It's just like
That's amazing.
It's like I loved it. It's hilarious. It's one of those movies me and my sisters always quote.
Yep.
It was a great DVD sports movie.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What are we on our fourth?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I don't know if I should put this on here. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to go Major League. This is my fourth. I love Major League. You also haven't seen that movie, I don't think.
No.
Major League's hilarious. It's probably one of those movies that there's some jokes in it that don't fly now.
Yeah.
Also Wesley Snipes in that movie and in the original. Then they recast his role as Omar Epps. But the premise is great. It's real. It hits Mariner fans right where it should. Sell the team to an owner, or no, the owner dies. Widow married him for the money. She wants to move them to Florida. So she releases and trades all the good players and signs all these independent ball players or minor leaguers. And they just go on a magical run, including Charlie Sheen as Ricky Vaughn, who was in prison at the start of the movie. And they pull him out of prison. He throws 99. He's great. Yeah. Ricky Vaughn is the closer. If we're going to ever do this, which, you would have to watch a lot of baseball movies,
Yeah.
we could do a fictional baseball draft like we did with the Mariners. It would be
yeah.
awesome. Ricky
Yeah.
Vaughn's the number one closer on the board.
Yeah.
So. You have to watch a lot more movies.
I think you would have to too.
Not for baseball. If we're doing a
uh,
baseball draft, I've seen all these.
Oh God, what was I?
You've seen none
I've lost my train of thought and I don't have it. It
because
was
I
in my
dominated
head.
you.
So
I
I
have to
one,
recover from your magical Mariners lineup.
I have
I
one
don't even
more
know how
pick.
that happened.
I
Okay,
have
go ahead.
One more pick, and I'm not gonna pick Jesus Shuttlesworth. I was really close.
Oh, he got game is good. He got game is good.
You know what? Here's another one of my favorite movies,
Okay.
and you're gonna laugh about this.
Oh, I sure am.
Have you seen The Replacements?
Yeah, that's solid, Kev,
Yeah,
actually.
so I love it because it's the first. This is how I learned what a strike was.
Oh,
So
is
my
it
dad,
Keanu in that?
yeah, Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves, who's an
I love
underrated,
Keanu.
and it pains me to say this, but that, you know, Replacement's probably a better, God, Hardball. Like Hardball is also Keanu Reeves. He
Yeah,
plays a coach for an inner city Chicago team.
yeah,
But I really loved The Replacements because I learned what a strike was. I remember my dad bought me for around this time Easter basket, and it was a VHS of The Replacements. I'm pretty sure he just got it for me so he could watch it.
mm,
But Keanu Reeves, and they play like they pick up all these the premises, they pick up all these like the NFL players are striking, and then they pick up all
yep.
these guys off the street, and then they're playing, and I just it's funny. And
I love it.
Keanu Reeves is the like injured, washed up quarterback, and
Right.
uh, who's the coach? Gene Hackman, R.I.P.
Oh, R.I.P. Yeah.
Yeah,
By the
he's the
way, what a
coach.
weird story that is. But
Yeah,
we don't need to get into that. But that's
yeah,
weird. Um. All right, my fifth. I'm gonna tell you what I was gonna do,
yeah,
but I'm not. So I was gonna go Hoosiers at number 4, which you probably never seen. Hoosiers is a slow watch.
yeah,
It doesn't last as well. So I was thinking about if you're gonna rank these, they're on TBS, right? You're scanning channels, got to be in a hotel room because no one scans TBS at home. But you go to the hotel room and you see this movie on, do you watch it? All of my top 4, I'm
yeah.
watching. I think A League of Their Own is my 5.
Oh, such a good movie.
Yeah,
God,
it's really good.
that got snubbed.
Um, by the way, we went to our kids' school auction last night,
Yeah. Oh,
and it was
Christine's
sport.
school's auction was last night too.
Oh, there you go. Was hers sports jersey themed? Because that's what
No,
ours was.
it was movie themed though.
Oh, nice. So Dana was one of like 7 5th grade moms who dressed as the Rockford Peaches.
Oh, nice,
Full
nice.
Rockford Peaches uniforms. I wore my Cortez Kennedy throwback
There
jersey.
you go. There you go.
So yeah, it was fun times. But your talk about Keanu and the Replacements. Can I just end with my favorite Keanu movies ever?
Wait,
Just
wait, wait.
fast.
Wait, can we just talk about Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own and how
Yeah,
ridiculously awesome he is
he's
as a
amazing.
drunk coach? Like,
Yeah,
so good.
he's
Okay,
great.
go ahead.
Okay, so Keanu Replacements is his 41st best movie and Hardball's 40th according to IMDb.
There's
Now, it's not fair.
39 better movies than those two that he's been in.
Yeah, it's not apparently. Well, this is Rotten Tomatoes, so yeah. Um Toy Story 4 is number 1. It doesn't really count because he's like a voice in it.
Wow,
The
I didn't
best,
even know he was in Toy
yeah,
Story
the
4.
best Keanu movie in this
Wait,
Rotten
how are you gonna
Tomatoes.
leave us with this cliffhanger? What was his voice in Toy Story
I
4?
don't remember. I'm trying to do the other part here. You look it up. I'm going to tell you Keanu's best 2 movies ever, and you're not going to have seen either of them. Number 1 is Speed, phenomenal. Sandra Bullock's first movie. Speed is awesome. I want to go watch it right now. You got to go. You got to keep that bus at 55 the whole time. They go over a ramp that's not even physically possible. Speed's amazing. Number 2 is Point Break. Point Break, the original, is unbelievable with Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves. It's so good. Johnny Utah is his name, former quarterback, like the Replacements.
Also a beer.
Yeah, well, it was named after the movie.
Yeah. Why? I
Yeah, do you
didn't
know
know
what the
that.
other beer in Georgetown is? Bodie Zaffa. Do you know who the other character in Point Break was? His nickname was Bodie Zaffa. His name is Bodie, Patrick Swayze's character. Phenomenal movie, Kev. Okay? Point Break. Then you could throw in, every John Wick, every Matrix. I'm fine with. The John Wicks are incredible.
Okay.
You got to give, hold on, I'm not done. Okay. Bill and Ted, the original, amazing. You got to throw that in for Keanu. He had a great role in Parenthood, the original 1989. Awesome boyfriend role there. And then people can talk about other ones if they want, but those are the ones for me. Okay. Thank you
All
for
right.
letting me.
Of course. And sorry, Toy Story 4, he played Duke Kaboom,
Oh,
which
yeah. I actually remember this now.
which is
Yeah.
a ridiculous character because it's based off of what's his name? Who's the actual guy in real life? What's his name?
Evil Knievel?
Evil Knievel. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. Duke Kaboom. Well,
such a great character.
Keanu, we love you in The Replacements. We love you in Speed, which
Yeah.
isn't really, but it's, fast. And
Yeah.
then you're a quarterback, Johnny Utah, a beer, a man, a legend, a legacy. Keanu, you're the best.
Nice. And so to finish up, are you gonna be? You'll be at the state tournament then, watching
I
some
will be
games.
there Wednesday. The prep boys will likely be playing Rainier Beach Thursday at 9 p.m. And Kev, I think I'll be at the Dome at 9 p.m. on Thursday night, and then I'll go teach at 7:45 Friday morning, baby. That's how we
Yeah.
do it.
I remember teaching during the state basketball tournament, and it was like, all right, I have this one lesson plan, and it's gonna last the whole week because it's impossible to get.
Yeah,
Everyone's like leaving, and
that's true. Oh,
yeah.
let me tell you, we have 25-minute classes on Wednesday before the game because it's Ash Wednesday, and the Catholics have to have your mass. So
Yeah.
I've never had a 25-minute class before. I will let you know how it goes.
Yeah,
But
good
more
luck.
importantly, next Sunday, we will be talking about hopefully the WCC basketball semifinals in which Santa Clara will be involved.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about how much better my fantasy baseball team is than yours.
All right, all right. On that note, we'll see you all next week.
See ya.